Okay, so GMGM.
And welcome back to the third episode of DevChain Diaries.
And on this episode, we'll learn how to become a Web3 developer. And of course, we have a very special guest on our podcast today.
Sir Mark, please come in.
GMGM. Okay, so sir, welcome to our podcast, the DevChain Diaries. So first, can you tell us a bit about yourself for our viewers out there?
Okay. So, GM, I am Mark J. Palma, a third year computer science, studying at the University of Mindanao, and currently the strategy and lead for strategy and planning for JBCPUM, and a student leader, a resource volunteer for Davao DeFi community.
Okay, so that's actually very interesting, such a big background already. Okay, so let's start off with a very big question actually. So, why should someone become a Web3 developer, and how does it differ from just a regular software developer?
So the first thing that I always say when I get a talk is Web3 is still an emerging technology, and if you pioneer that emerging technology, you have the edge to be on top of it. If we don't know if Web3 goes boom, you have the knowledge, you have the capabilities to thrive in that space. And with learning Web3, you have a leverage in compared to just learning the basic web development or the Web 2 as it is. But on my philosophy, when you learn Web 3, you also learn the fundamentals of Web 2. So it's just a risk. So for example, if you are into Web 2, it's just, and when you try to transition into Web 3, it's just Web 2 on top of blockchain. That's Web 3.
Okay.
So that's why developers, like when you I'm getting danced. So when people learn Web3, you should first learn the fundamentals of Web 2, and then you go to the core concept of blockchain, and you integrate blockchain to your project. So that's basically it. And also basic supply and demand of developers. Web3, there's a lot of Web3 projects, Web3 initiatives on the global scale, and there's so little Web3 developers here globally. Based on some statistics, only 1% of the total developers globally is Web3 developers. So imagine the scarcity of Web3 developers.
Yeah, it's very, very scarce.
It's very, very scarce. So in terms of salary-wise, it's just a word of, I just heard it from the word of mouth. It's very much bigger than the traditional Web 2 jobs.
So actually, wait, I do have a follow-up question for that. Okay, so you said that Web3 is basically just stacked on top of Web 2, right? So if you want to become a Web3, let's say developer, right? Do you need to master Web 2 first, or can you just learn Web 3 and then you automatically master Web 2 because of that?
I suggest that it's very good to have a fundamentals of Web 2 when dealing with Web 3, because it's also one of the core of Web 3, Web 2. So if you have a good knowledge of the core concept of Web 2, it's easy to transition to Web 3. But also, you can also go through Web 3 and then along the way you learn Web 2. It's just really how you deal with either way it works. It's really case to case basis in terms of who you are, what's your dynamics in terms of learning.
We're talking about Web 2 and Web 3, right? So it's basically coding, right? So I mean, what are the languages that I need to learn first if I wanna delve into Web 3, like Java, JavaScript?
Okay, so if you have a coding background already, obviously you already know JavaScript, you already know C, C++, C#, or any other low-level languages. So for me, it's okay to have a background. It's quite an edge, you have a leverage. So you learn the programming languages in building blockchains really fast if you have some backgrounds on it. Yeah, but for like beginners, you can also like literally skip all of that and just delve into the programming languages of blockchain, which is mostly like Solidity, Rust, and other things. Yeah, because basically in Solidity in the net and the internet we have some blockchains offers like in their documentations like tutorials. So it's easy to grasp. It's like learning a new language that you learn in the academy.
Okay, so actually, speaking of learning, right? So let's say I want to become a Web3 developer. I don't need to learn like lots of programming languages for that, right? But how much time do you think it would take for, let's say, a beginner like me, who barely knows anything about Solidity or Rust, to put my time and effort into becoming a Web3 developer? Months?
From zero to hero.
From zero to hero.
Okay.
And my experience, I also learned I'm also self-taught, like from scratch. But since I'm a CS undergrad schooling right now, I have some quite of a background in terms of coding, so it's easy for me to grasp some programming languages. But if ever on my end, like if I start with scratch, I believe from 1 to 3 months you can already learn the Solidity, with some other programming languages in DevChain. And after that, after you learn Solidity or any other programming language in blockchain, you can also, after like 3 to 4 months, 3 to 5 months, you can integrate it to your projects. So I think in a span of 1 to 6 months, like locked in 1 to 6 months, like you can build a small scale blockchain project.
So you can say that the learning curve isn't that steep.
I believe in terms of coding, there are some steepness on it in terms of the standards, the concepts. But when you try to get the fundamentals of it, when you try to learn the fundamentals of it, it becomes much easier in building. So the first 3 months would be hard for me especially, to learn the concept, because blockchain is a very big technology. Yeah, so it's very hard to grasp that in just 3 months. It's quite steep, but I'll give maximum 1 year you can learn Web3, like with the whole foundation, with the whole concept.
Locked in.
Locked in.
So do I need to spend money to learn Web3 development, or there are like free resources, free workshops to learn Web3 and all the concepts?
You don't really need a lot of money, or you need like free. To learn Web3, it's basically free. Especially here in Davao City, we have a lot of organizations that conducts events here in terms of blockchain technology. So in that event, it's free. It's not free. You can just join, learn some blockchain, learn some smart contracts, learn some codings and such. And also in some other blockchains, they have a very good documentations. So it's easy to read the docs and learn from it. And also in the YouTube, they also have some crash courses for smart contract development and like the blockchain concepts that is. So it's really free. You don't need to spend money on it.
Okay, that's good for me because I don't really have money to spend with this kind of project.
Same.
Expand the community.
So let's say I do actually take take it seriously, right? So I lock in for a couple of months. What should be step one? Like absolutely the first step in learning.
I believe you should first go to the core concept of blockchain. Like how does it really work? What is this consensus mechanism? What is this stuff? What's going on in the blockchain? Like, you need to know that first, and then after that, I believe need to find some like problems that you want to solve.
Like leak code.
Yeah, like, or like societal problems that you want to solve. And then you try to like, is this problem can be solved by blockchain and whatnot, and then you try to, after that you just stay curious and learn how to code to solve that problem, and then just go with your curiosity and just code it all away.
Yeah, so like
So first, I'm just gonna be clear.
Yeah.
So
just to be clear.
you just need to know the blockchain infrastructure. After that, you're gonna go with the coding stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
After the coding stuff, after the blockchain, you're gonna find some problems and then you're gonna go to the coding stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
in other words, you could say that blockchain is basically the core of Web3, right?
Yeah.
So, like, speaking of blockchain, like, how much do I need to understand how it works? Like, do I really need those deep technical learnings or just the fundamental concepts? Like the,
For me, as
shallow concepts.
a starter, you just need the fundamentals, just like the core concepts, not just the very deep, the very infrastructure, like the binary thing out of it. Just the core concept, like how it really works. You don't really need, for starters, you don't really need to like very deep. But if you want, if you're that psychopath,
Yeah, you're that lucky.
On the
That
spectrum for that.
So let's talk about the programming languages. I've heard of Solidity, Rust, and JavaScript.
yeah.
So
Which one of those actually? Let's
Yeah.
say out of those three, or at least out of all the languages in Web3, which one should we start with?
In terms of the global scale, the most used programming languages is, I think, Solidity, because Solidity is a programming language developed by Ethereum, and Ethereum is the biggest blockchain ecosystem here globally. So it's easy to start also in Ethereum. So I believe you should learn first Solidity. It's quite it really has good transition in terms of Web 2 to Web 3, because it's just, I believe, more like a Python-like, Java-like language as Solidity is.
So like speaking a lot of Solidity, I mean, like what really is Solidity and why is it the most important language when it comes to Web3?
It's in demand in today's, because most of the decentralized applications are built on Ethereum. So mostly, if you're gonna try to lock in and become a Web3 developer, you're most likely be good in Solidity, because most of the applications and documents are built on Ethereum, and Ethereum is Solidity. So yeah.
So,
I see. Okay, so what about so Solidity is based on Ethereum, right? So what about the other languages like Rust or Viper or others?
yeah.
I personally just touched Rust on shallow level. Yeah. In terms, I was building something in Solana at that time, and then I really hate low level languages. It really blows my mind. Yeah, it's really hard building on Rust. And I think other programming language I use is only Rust, Move, and Solidity. So yeah, they have their own edges in terms of developments.
But the one in most demand is Solidity.
Yeah, Solidity.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of like, since all programmers use IDEs, or unless you're like a Linux crazy person, you use the Bash.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Bash.
speaking of those kind of things, like let's say as a Web3 programmer, like would you recommend specific IDEs or software that we should install if you're just getting into that Web3 space?
Okay, so in terms of IDE, you can just code. Like, what do you use?
Personally, I use VS Code.
What do you use?
I use Eclipse.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
So you can actually a Java programmer. You can actually use VS Code for developing in in Ethereum or in Solidity, they have a lot of extensions already in there. A lot of it has also a compiler, I think. Yeah, you just need VS Code. VS Code is a good editor for it. And also there are a lot of there's one web IDE. It's Remix. It's also very good for starters because if you use VS Code, you need to configure it. Yeah, you really need to configure it.
Configurations.
If in the browser IDE we have Remix for Ethereum, so it's just an all-in-one, just code, deploy, okay.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, wait, I have a follow-up question to that. What about the OS? Do you have a bias for an OS when it comes to Web3 development?
You prefer Mac?
I prefer Linux and development.
Of course.
Because some of the compilers don't run on Windows.
That's
Yeah. So it's the easy space is for go to Linux.
It has less restrictions. Anyways, can I practice Web3 development without using money? Like, are there any playgrounds or sandboxes for me to just wiggle my hands into Web3 development?
Yeah. There's also what we call I forgot what blockchain it is, but it has a website. Maybe the Solidity or the Solidity docs that it is. There's Solidity by example. You can check it out. You can practice coding there.
Oh, I see. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you want to learn Python, you have free code camp where they
Yeah.
So something like
That's
that.
something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's
Okay.
something.
Okay. So let's say I finally have everything I need to know about Web3, right? What should I make first? What's a good
What's a good first project? Web3.
I believe that what's the best project for you is the one that you want to make. There's no really.
So I can just make a game for Web3?
Yeah, you can really make a game for Web3.
Anything.
Anything you want.
It's that flexible.
It's that flexible. Being on Web3 is flexible. Just do what you wanna do.
Okay, that's actually nice. Okay, so but before we go on to actually the technical portion, would you like some water or coffee or anything?
I just want to.
Okay, can we also get water and a coffee? But thank you very much. Okay, so while we're doing that, right? So let's touch on some technical topics like the smart contracts itself.
I've always heard of smart contracts.
Yeah.
Whenever I search about Web3.
That's true. It's always smart contracts, right?
contracts.
So I've been to a couple workshops where they explain smart contracts, but I never really got to see the backbone of smart contracts. Can you explain to our viewers out there and to us what exactly is smart contract?
are smart contracts?
So in a nutshell, smart contract is just basically a program that is stored in a blockchain and it automatically executes when predefined conditions are met. It's transparent in a way that it's in a blockchain. You gotta see it as it is. That if ever this program scams you, you know it because it's in the blockchain. It's transparent, and it's also smart contracts are immutable contracts. Once you deploy it, you can really change it. Yeah, so you have the sense of security that this program runs the way it should run.
Because it's invisible, right?
Wait,
Yeah.
so, but if it's immutable, let's say I make a smart contract, right? And
A small bug.
and I forget, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's a mistake in my smart contract. So if it's immutable, I can't edit that.
You can't create it because you can just build one on top of it, but you can edit the
That's
first
interesting.
layer on it.
I see. So let's say I build one on top of it. So the bugs in the
It
first layer will
Overrides the first contract or no?
It overrides the first one.
Okay. I was wondering.
But it's very tedious because you need to override everything.
Okay, I see.
Everything is immutable, so if one gets wrong, so the other thing doesn't match anymore, so you gotta migrate it. So you have a layer 2 on it. So that's, I think, the core concept.
I'm basically just redoing
That is
everything.
really
Yeah.
You're just gonna deploy another contract.
Okay, so actually I have a follow-up question to that. You talked about for example scams, right?
Yeah.
So let's say if it's immutable, it's also anonymous, right? The blockchain, so you can't really have accountability, right, in the blockchain. Don't you think that's an issue when it comes to smart contracts that have scams and everything?
In terms of that kind of programs, thank you. In terms of that kind of programs, like in the big scales, if you have a company or what sort of or some sort, you can't really just deploy anything on the blockchain. We have this what we call auditors. Like they audit your smart contracts and everything. So if you are a small technipreneur and then your program doesn't have any certification from the auditors, like, do you think other people will just go randomly on your
So
yeah,
it's like a
really
quality
trust.
assurance.
Yeah,
Okay.
quality
I
assurance.
see.
Okay.
So that's actually super interesting. Actually, so it's like a safeguard, right?
Yeah.
But are the auditors like the last line of defense, or?
I believe, as far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like when you're when you try to build a program, you validate it with your team. Yeah, validate it with your team, and then after that, when you try to deploy it on a business scale, you need some validators for it,
Okay.
for it to run smoothly.
That's how you basically test it. Your
Yeah.
smart contracts.
You gotta test it out to other people if it's vulnerable or not.
So I've also heard a lot about gas fees.
Gas fees.
Gas
fees.
Like, do I need to pay something in developing? Like, I don't get it.
Okay. So in terms of development, there's what we call test nets. So it's a space for developers to build test what you call this, like it's like your program but not on the main blockchain, just on the testnet of the blockchain. So in development part, you first gotta build it on the testnets, and then everything on the testnet is free. You can generate tokens, you can create tokens for the testnets, and those tokens you can mint tokens, and then those tokens will serve as your gas fees in terms of development. So in terms of development, you don't really need money because we have testnets. You can build your application, build your decentralized applications on testnets, and then in terms of deploying it on the mainnet, the mainnet is the main blockchain.
Yeah,
Mainnet.
that's
the main blockchain. Yeah.
Certainly.
That's where it gets much expensive because of the gas fees. Because gas fees are, just gonna explain it in a simpler way, is you pay, let me just go muna sa core sa blockchain.
Yeah.
So, di ba, ang blockchain is like a decentralized, that everyone has a copy on it.
Yeah.
And they need to validate those copies. So if you send a transaction, everyone will validate it. And thus gas fee will serve as the incentives for the validators.
For the validators.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're paying the other nodes to validate your
Validate
transaction.
their work,
Yeah.
Transaction.
So that's what gas fees really do.
Okay, so oh my god. Okay, so that's yeah, so
That's
when we
mind-blowing.
testing, it's completely free, but when we have to pay when it's deployed.
It's in the
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
So
But you can simulate the payment in the testnets.
oh, okay.
There's also gas fees in testnet, but the tokens that you use to pay for it is just free.
So you can earn tokens during development for paying gas fees, right?
You can have tokens for gas fees.
So they give you tokens for
You
gas
can
fees.
you can get
Oh.
tokens for gas fees
Okay, in the testing.
in the testing environment.
So that's how you make sure that the smart contract actually works
Yeah.
and everything, right?
And then also the amount of gas fees on testnet is quite close to the mainnet. So you can simulate, like, if this transaction is very expensive, you can optimize it so that it will be much more cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheaper. Yes.
So like whenever for example, if I wanted to develop a smart contract, right? do I need to be a full stack developer knowing front end, back end, or am I just building a specific thing?
In terms of smart contract, for me, a smart contract is like a back end of things. So if you want to learn smart contract development, it's okay. It's good to also learn front end so you can really connect both things. But it's not really necessary in learning front end. Just need to learn how to build smart contracts on the backside.
Oh, okay, so the UI, UX, and everything goes to a different team.
Okay, you have a team. Yeah.
You just have another team in development in front end.
So, how do Web3 apps connect to wallets like MetaMask? Is there something I need to learn how to code? Is it something?
Thanks to what we call libraries. We already have libraries for connecting MetaMask, for connecting into other wallet connects out there. You can just import the library and then just read the docs on how to use it. And then, yeah, it's really just that easy. Like in the one block of code, you can connect from your app to the MetaMask.
Just use APIs.
Yeah.
So, like for example, though, let's say we finally have a smart contract as a side project, right? Would that be good for example, when we're looking for companies that might be hiring, or is it all just hype and companies aren't actually hiring? Considering only 1%, right, of programmers out there are Web3.
If we go on the local side of things, I believe some companies doesn't really get the grasp of blockchain technologies because it's very new here in the Philippines. And in terms naman in the global scale, it's very some of the companies offer Web3 projects, Web3 initiatives. So, and smart contract is really an edge in terms of application and hiring process because you have a skill that other other native developers does not possess. So I think it's not just all hype. It really has an impact.
I mean, like they doubted the internet when it first came out.
Now
look at
it's everywhere. Yeah, but like, I have a specific question. I've heard that Web3 focuses on decentralizing things, right? So, as an individual, can I become a renowned Web3 developer even though I'm not under any company? Just an individual fellow.
Also, solo.
Just
Like
solo.
solo.
Yeah.
You can be renowned as a Web3 developer because we have, in Web3 space right now, we have a lot of hackathons, a lot of project developments, project pitching, project startup. So some developers like do the things solo, and then and then some of them is very known in terms of the Web3 space. You can just go solo.
Don't necessarily need a company to be in the blockchain.
It's really an edge to have a collaborators in your projects. But if you're really that good, you can just go solo.
So like speaking of company backing, right? So here in the Philippines right now, the job market for Web3 developers, do you think it's looking not too good or very good, or like is there a lot of potential in that market?
I believe it is quite promising because like even the politics, they even endorsed blockchain as something. But that's not much more issues out there. But in terms of like education, the Philippines is very open-minded in terms of accepting this kind of emerging technologies, this kind of new stuff. So it's at some point, I believe it's some point of time that some other companies will just integrate blockchain technologies in their infrastructures, and that's the time that your learnings and rapid development will pay off, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so speaking of Web3 developers, how big of a gap are their pay grades compared to the traditional developers?
That's what I want to hear.
I want to hear the bread, the salary.
Yeah, because you said a while ago, right?
Yeah,
that
I recall you said
it's a bit bigger than the native software developer.
How big is the gap actually?
So actually, I don't have a first-hand experience because for now, I don't work to any companies out there. I'm just like a avid blockchain enthusiast, just codes and stuff. But I'm gonna ask my friend here who's a blockchain developer. What's the scale? What's the ratio? Like the percentage?
Contract like example you have write a contract like smart contract like example like 2,000 200,000 to 300,000.
As what he says, that just a smart contract application, just the back end of site, you can have the project for 200 to 300,000.
Good.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
It's really and it's project based. It's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah, is it? You just make a project and then you get your salary.
So get your salary.
Like for example, though, if I'm just new to the Web3, let's say sphere as, let's say, a fresh grad, right, and I'm looking for jobs, what would an entry-level job in Web3 look like?
Kind of job.
Like considering, let's say, for example, senior devs right now, right? They're looking for junior devs with requirements basically for senior devs now as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a Web3, let's say, developer, what would be the entry-level job for that?
Well, the entry level jobs for Web3 developers is basically the smart contract stuffs. Yeah. So as a junior, you also build the smart contracts, and also the senior just reviews it for.
They're just the reviewers.
They review your work. So in the entry level, just need to know the infrastructure and then the smart contracts. And yeah.
So when I'm ready to apply, where do I even look for Web3 jobs?
Actually, there are a lot of spaces. In terms, there's a lot of specific blockchains out there that offers jobs. I forgot the blockchain, but they have in their website, they have their whole ecosystem out there, the decentralized applications that are built on them, and those decentralized application, when you reach out to them, you can also get hired, and also they also post some hiring stuffs in here, but in terms of freelancing, you can just really tap in to some companies.
Okay, so you can talk in companies.
Wait, so although if you had to choose, right? So let's say you had to choose between freelancing or
being
full
in a
time.
company.
Yeah.
Full-time.
Which one do you think would be most beneficial to a Web3 developer?
It's really case to case basis, I guess, because for me, like, I'm a student. I have time for my studies and then time for work. So the freelancing stuff is quite better for me because it gives me a flexible schedule for what I do. But if you're a full-time developer, you just, I guess, a stable job is much better.
That's true.
Yeah.
But like being a freelancer, would it be better because you can just hop from one company to another?
Yeah, that's also the edge of it.
Okay.
But like,
That's
you know,
like
I don't think it's
the
guaranteed all the time.
Yeah.
For a job with
The pros is that you can jump from one company to another, but the cons is if you're not that good, you're not gonna land in one company.
That's true.
Like,
So-
It's a skill set. It's a skill set.
Considering that you have a huge background in Web3, right? So what part of learning Web3 do most developers usually get stuck at or give up at
The
what
hardest
point? Yeah.
parts.
The hardest parts.
I believe staying consistent and having the motivation to do steps, because for me, experience-wise, I really doubt. For example, like I doubted that this will go to the moon, and then that loses me motivation, and that loses me some fire and some drive in building or learning blockchain. So in terms naman in the technical part, there's not a really a specific part that gets you stuck. You can just, I believe you can just learn everything smoothly as you learn from it. It's just a matter of your persistence as a person and your adaptability to those changes.
Okay, so basically just
It's
school.
a skill issue.
Yeah.
It's a skill issue.
Okay, so like for example, right? Like I also thought, things like SLP or we would also go to the moon, but reality hits sometimes. Yeah.
Just draining.
Okay, so no. Okay, so for example, though, right? So the world is changing and we're getting modernized, right? Especially with Web3. First, I have a question though. Do you think AI will replace Web3 developers?
Or at least dominate, the Web3 chain.
I believe at some point of time, if AI really scale up, it will replace some jobs, some development jobs. But that's a what do you call this? Dugay pa.
Yeah.
Dugay pa lang metabo.
I mean,
But
far future.
far future.
Yeah.
But
Safe to say that.
yeah. But I believe as long as you have something that is new, that is innovative, AI can't replace you. The one thing that AI can't do is solving problems that isn't discovered yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like I think AI can't be original ever. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they say.
Can never beat human creativity, bro.
That's true.
So at this time, you're just gonna leverage AI to help you develop, and then you identify a problem, you solve it with your creativity as a human, and then use AI as a tool to help you develop efficiently, and then take that solution into life.
What about non-AI tools though? Like for example, like new libraries or new tools that come out that help Web3, but sometimes these make other tools irrelevant, right? So how would you keep up with the trend of more tools coming in,
Yeah,
more,
how do you
more tools
cope with
becoming?
it? With the sudden change, the overwhelming change.
I mean, it's bonded to us since we're in tech. We live in the fast-paced world.
We need to adapt.
You really need adaptability if you are in this kind of industry. So because I believe the trend today might not be the trend tomorrow. Yeah, so you just need to love the change, to embrace the change.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, bro.
So like let's say I'm a new developer out there, and people always like to deprecate themselves like I don't think I'm good enough. Is that like a common thing in Web3 development? Like how technical would someone need to be to succeed in this kind of sphere?
I believe everyone in the tech industry has imposter syndrome.
That is true.
I mean, that is kind of true.
When you see some people out there like very successful, and then you try to look back at yourself, like it's really that kind of makes you feel less of a person, I think. It makes me feel very lonely. And then, can you repeat the question?
How technical would somebody be in order to succeed in this kind of sphere?
With the aid of the technologies like the AI, it's very easy to be technical. It's very easy nowadays to learn deeper. It's just a matter of how you execute them.
That's true. It really hurts me when you see articles like 12-year-old kid codes his first programming app. And like I'm 20 plus.
I first started coding when I was like in senior high school, and then they started coding in grade school. Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not good
It's
enough.
issue, bro. You have more experience than I do.
That's true. But still, I guess looking forward to the future. What was that movie? I think it was Nemo, right? What? No, it was Nemo. I was just keep swimming, yeah. Just keep swimming.
Quoting Nemo. Yeah, just keep swimming. So, you know, the Web3 space has a lot of scams, and as a developer, you know, working on legit projects, how do you assure the other people that your works aren't really scams? You know?
That's what I said earlier. Like, we have third parties to validate your smart contracts, your projects. If you wanna post your entire code base and then let other people let other people penetrate it for you to also know the vulnerabilities of your projects. And we also have some auditors. So for the consumers to be so sure that your project is not a scam, it should be certified and it should be tested by the public.
Like white hat hacking,
Yeah.
like everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like, you know, what if you know your company is actually a scam company? You just actually wanna, you know, build something legit. How do you assess? How do you make sure that you aren't actually helping them build a scam project?
If you know the technicalities of building a smart contract, you will know the anomalies on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know that this contract is quite, you can bypass it in this kind of way. So you know in yourself that I'm building something that isn't quite ethical.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, if your company is very good in social engineering and you manipulate your definition,
All boils down to
yeah,
experience.
so that's it.
So like actually, so what? Let's say for individual personalities, right? What kind of person would thrive in the Web3 development community? Like what kind of characteristics would that person have?
I believe someone who is very, very curious and very adaptable to changes, and also persistence in them, because this Web3 industry is very fast-paced and an emerging technology. So you need to catch up. You need to be a beacon of what you call this. I'm blanking out. So the main thought that I am getting on is that you need to be someone that learns every day. You gotta learn every time, because sa kapaspason sa Web3 development, it's really hard to catch up. So you need to
Always hone yourself.
Yeah,
Your skills. Sharpen.
be familiar with changes, be adaptable in it.
Like water.
Yeah. So
Be like water.
that's true. Even in the Web3, no, he still makes his mark. Okay, I think this one is the final question before we go to the rapid fire segment. That one's gonna get you kind of heated.
So, final question for you, Mr. Mark, is for someone listening right now who's interested, what's one thing they should do today to start their Web3 development journey?
So if I'm gonna say something to our listeners right now, if they are interested here in the Web3 space, it's just simply stay curious and follow that curiosity just a little bit today, because I believe Web3 is still being written, and the personalities that thrives in this space is not the one who knows everything, but the ones who ask why things work, what they intended to do, and what can be better. Like they ask those questions. Yeah. So as a web developer or Web3 developer, just join events, read some threads, join conversation, connect with people, do things that you like, do things that you're curious on, because curiosity is spark, and then everything just comes after that. So just be curious, everyone.
That's true. It's awesome. So,
Curious.
so actually, that wraps our deep dive for today. The internet isn't just technology; it's a reflection of what we do. Now, thank you again, Sir Mark, for helping us and
explore,
learn.
a Web3 developer.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. This is actually my first time in this kind of setup, like the podcast thing. I'm used to that as like the speaker thing, like just gonna stand there, my PPT.
Everybody listens.
Do you have anything you wanna plug in or shout out to all our viewers out there?
Okay, just follow our social media, 𝐓𝐡𝐞. We conduct activities on the academe and also the externals. And also the DeFi community, the best blockchain organization here in Davao and doubtly and surely in Mindanao. Just follow DDC, guys.
Okay, awesome. So let's have before we end
Before
this,
we actually wrap up,
Okay,
we have
we
this rapid fire.
Okay, so I'll give you two choices, right? So don't think about it. Just comes what comes to your mind first.
First thing,
So it's X or Y. Just pick one. Okay, let's go. Solidity or Rust?
Solidity,
Okay, Ethereum or Solana?
Ethereum,
Front end or smart contracts?
smart contracts,
DeFi or NFTs?
DeFi,
Work for DAO or startup?
work for DAO,
Paid in crypto or fiat?
crypto,
Okay, VS Code or Remix?
VS Code,
Ooh, okay, self-taught or bootcamp?
self-taught,
Anonymity or accountability?
accountability,
Hard hat or Foundry?
hard hat,
Okay, layer 1, layer 2.
layer 2,
JavaScript or TypeScript?
TypeScript,
EVM or non-EVM?
of course EVM,
Hackathons or bounties?
hackathons,
Twitter or Discord?
Twitter,
Of course. Okay, audit first or ship fast?
audit first,
MetaMask or Phantom?
MetaMask,
Okay, reading docs or reading code?
reading docs.
Okay, so then, thank you very much again for being here on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
thank you, Sir Mark.
Thank you very much.
So, that basically ends our episode 3, and we hope that every Web3 developer that just listened to our podcast is, fired up, having their passions fueled once again. And for those who are very interested in starting to become one of the Web3 developers, I hope you are inspired and will continue your journey. And that's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you very much, Sir Mark.